The sky burns the night sky over Earth had always been calm, filled with stars and silence. But that silence was broken. First, people saw lights in the sky. At first, they thought it was meteors, burning bright across the heavens. But soon the truth was clear. These were not falling stars. They were warships. Thousands of them. The alien invasion had begun. In cities around the world, people ran to rooftops and stared upward. The sky was filled with fire. Huge alien vessels entered orbit, their engines glowing red like burning suns. They stretched across the horizon, too many to count. They looked like an endless swarm, like a wall of metal closing in around Earth. The aliens had planned this attack for years. To them, Earth was nothing, a weak world, a primitive species. They thought it would be easy. One day of battle. Their commanders had promised. One day, and the humans will kneel. On the ground, fear spread like fire. Governments sent warnings. Cities prepared for evacuation. Soldiers gathered in their bases, knowing they were outnumbered. Mothers held their children tight, listening to the distant thunder of engines above. The world braced for the end. The alien fleet opened fire. Bolts of energy lit the sky. Entire city blocks were torn apart in seconds. Flames rose high into the night. The earth itself shook. Skyscrapers crumbled, streets cracked open, and the air was filled with smoke and screams. It was the beginning of the end, or so the aliens believed. But Earth was not what it seemed. For years, hidden from the galaxy, humanity had been preparing. Buried deep beneath mountains, inside oceans, and far below the deserts, massive bunkers held technology no alien had ever seen. While the galaxy thought humans were still weak, Earth had been building weapons. Weapons designed for one purpose: survival. In a hidden command center under the Rocky Mountains, General Marcus Stone stood watching the invasion on a giant screen. His face was calm, his voice cold. "They came to burn us," he said. "Let's show them what fire really is." Around him, soldiers typed commands. Across the world, secret bases came alive. Massive steel doors opened. Hidden silos rose from the ground. Deep-sea platforms pushed through the waves. And then, humanity answered. From underground hangars, Earth's warships launched into the sky. Not hundreds, but thousands. Black ships, sharp like blades, engines roaring like thunder. They had been kept secret for decades, waiting for this moment. The first wave of human ships rose through the smoke and fire of burning cities. Civilians watched in shock as Earth's fleet climbed into the heavens. The fear in their eyes turned to hope. The alien commanders laughed when they saw the ships. To them, these human vessels looked small, fragile, nothing compared to their massive dreadnoughts. "Crush them," one alien general ordered. "End this quickly." But when the first alien fleet of 2,000 ships descended, something unexpected happened. The human fleet did not retreat. They did not scatter. They attacked. The sky erupted. Lasers, railguns, and missiles cut through the dark like storms of light. Human ships moved faster than the aliens expected, striking with precision. Alien dreadnoughts exploded one by one, their burning remains falling like meteors toward the Earth. In minutes, hundreds of alien ships were gone. Their formations broke apart, their lines shattered. What was meant to be an easy battle turned into chaos. On the ground, people stared in disbelief. They had thought Earth was defenseless. But now they saw the truth. Humanity had teeth. General Stone's voice echoed through the command center. "This is only the beginning. Let them come." In orbit, the fight raged. Alien crews screamed in panic as their ships fell. Their commanders could not believe what they saw. Humans, the species they had called weak, had destroyed an entire fleet in less than an hour. Still, the aliens had more ships. Thousands more. They regrouped, preparing to send their next wave. They still believed they could crush Earth. But now, a shadow of doubt began to spread among them. The humans had fought back. And they had fought back with fury. Far above, the burning wreckage of alien vessels filled the night like dying stars. The invasion had begun with fire. But the fire did not belong only to the aliens anymore. The world watched. Humanity had revealed its secret. The war for Earth had truly begun. And in that moment, as the sky burned, a single truth became clear. Earth would not fall easily. Asterisk Earth's hidden teeth, the first alien fleet, had burned in orbit, but the war was far from over. Above Earth, thousands of enemy ships still floated like a wall of steel. The aliens were not afraid. Not yet. They believed the first loss was only luck. Inside their massive flagship, Admiral Kravos growled. His dark eyes glowed under the alien lights. "Humans fight like animals," he said. "But animals always break. Send in the second fleet. Earn their cities. Leave nothing." Orders spread through the alien armada. Engines flared. Another fleet of 2,000 ships moved toward Earth. They came in tight formation, confident that this time humans would be crushed. But humanity had not shown its true power yet. Beneath the deserts of Nevada, huge bunkers opened. The ground shook as gigantic machines rose from the Earth. These were not ships. They were orbital cannons, massive railguns, taller than skyscrapers, hidden for decades. Their barrels pointed at the sky like iron fingers. In the Pacific Ocean, the waves parted. Hidden platforms surfaced, carrying missile silos and drone swarms. Thousands of drones, black and silent, lifted into the air, their wings reflecting the flames of burning cities. And high in orbit, cloaked ships waited, invisible to alien sensors. They had been silent hunters until now. From the command center, under the Rockies, General Marcus Stone gave the order. Unleash the teeth. The world roared. The orbital cannons fired first. Blinding streaks of metal shot into space at impossible speeds. Alien cruisers exploded before they even reached orbit. Then the drones attacked, moving in swarms, striking from every angle. Alien shields failed under the constant storm of hits. The sky became a graveyard. Alien commanders screamed as their ships fell apart. Human missiles tracked them relentlessly, weaving between their defenses. Ships that tried to retreat were caught by cloaked vessels waiting in ambush. One alien captain shouted, "How? How do they have this power?" But no answer came. Only static, followed by fire. From the ground, people saw the impossible. The night sky, once filled with fear, now glowed with victory. Alien ships, once untouchable, now burned like candles. Children pointed upward, watching enemy warships shatter into dust. Soldiers on the front lines cheered. Hope spread like wildfire. But the humans were not cheering in their command centers. Their faces were cold, focused. This was not about glory. This was survival. General Stone's voice was steady. Do not let even one ship escape. No witnesses. In space, the alien fleet broke apart. What began as an organized attack had turned into a desperate retreat. Thousands had come with pride. Now only wreckage remained, but it was not over. The aliens still had numbers. For every ship destroyed, more were waiting. Their main forces had not even entered the battle yet. Inside the flagship, Admiral Kravos slammed his fist against the console. He could not believe what he was seeing. "This is not possible," he hissed. "Humans were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to beg. Instead, they kill us like hunters kill prey." An aide trembled before him. "Admiral." They prepared. For us, somehow they knew. Kravos's eyes narrowed. He gave one final order. Then we send everything. No more waves. No more patience. Bring the full Armada. Earn their world to ash. Far above, alien ships shifted formation. The full scale of the invasion was finally revealed. It was not just a fleet. It was an ocean. Ship after ship filled the void, blotting out the stars. On Earth, alarms blared. Satellites picked up the massive movement. The next attack would not be in thousands. It would be in tens of thousands. And yet, humanity did not tremble. In the command center, General Stone looked at the screen. His officers waited, tense, expecting fear. But Stone only spoke 3 words, his voice like iron. Let them come. The Earth had shown its hidden teeth. But now, the true war was about to begin. The aliens believed they were the hunters. But they had stepped into the trap of a species that remembered every scar, every loss, every grave. The sky burned with falling wrecks, but the fire was only growing. The next battle would decide everything. Asterisk. The human trap space had never looked so full. The alien armada moved like a storm, swallowing the stars. Tens of thousands of ships stretched across the void, an endless wall of steel and fire. For the first time in their history, the aliens felt resistance, but they still believed victory was theirs. Humans had fought harder than expected, yes, but numbers always crushed courage. Inside the flagship, Admiral Kravos stood at the viewing deck. His voice was low, dangerous. Enough games. End this world. Break their defenses. Show them what true war is. The alien ships roared forward, weapons glowing. Their energy beams lit the sky like a second sunrise. Entire cities trembled as the storm of fire fell toward Earth. But something was wrong. Their shots were missing. The beams curved away, swallowed by invisible fields. Their targeting systems failed. Alarms screamed inside alien bridges. Captains shouted in confusion. Then, the trap was sprung. From the asteroid belt beyond the moon, shadows moved. They were not natural rocks. They were machines. Thousands of hidden minds, cloaked for years, came alive. They armed themselves in silence. Then they struck. Explosions tore through the alien front lines. Dreadnoughts broke apart in fireballs. Smaller ships vanished instantly, shredded by shrapnel. The aliens had walked straight into humanity's first snare, and that was only the beginning. From the dark side of the moon, the second trap awakened. Dozens of giant cannons hidden inside craters opened fire. They launched hypersonic projectiles straight into the heart of the fleet. Each impact ripped holes through alien formations. On Earth, civilians watched the battle unfold on screens. They saw alien ships burning, one after another, and realized the impossible. Humans were winning. The aliens, however, were in chaos. Admiral Kravos slammed his fist down. Find their weapons. Destroy the source. But before they could regroup, another nightmare arrived. The silence of space broke with a new sound, metallic wings unfolding. From behind the moon, swarms of black drones burst forward. Thousands of them, sharp like knives, moving as one. They darted between alien ships, slipping under shields, cutting through engines. Alien crews screamed as their ships lost power. Some vessels spun helplessly into each other, colliding in massive fireballs. Others drifted into the asteroid mines, where they were torn apart instantly. The trap was everywhere. It was not just clever weapons. It was a plan, built with patience. Humans had known the aliens would come. They had prepared every shadow of the sky, every rock, every hidden place, and the aliens were falling straight into it. General Marcus Stone watched from the command center, his eyes cold. They expected us to run, he said. But we were waiting. An officer turned, nervous. Sir, their reinforcements are endless. Even with the trap, there are too many. Stone's voice did not change. Then we bleed them until they break. In orbit, the bleeding continued. Alien dreadnoughts tried to escape the mines, but cloaked human ships appeared from the darkness. They fired torpedoes at close range, tearing through alien hulls. A massive alien battleship screamed across the void, its guns blazing. It looked unstoppable until a human frigate rammed it head-on, sacrificing itself. Both ships vanished in a single explosion that lit the sky. The aliens were stunned. No other species fought like this. To them, self-sacrifice was madness. To humans, it was survival. Admiral Kravos's face twisted in rage. These creatures are insane. They destroy themselves just to kill us. His officers said nothing. They could see the truth. Ship by ship, the Armada was dying. The battlefield looked like a graveyard. Burning wrecks floated in every direction. Broken metal glowed red against the black of space. It was no longer an invasion. It was a slaughterhouse. Still, the aliens pushed forward. They believed sheer numbers could crush the trap. But every step deeper cost them more ships. One alien? Captain whispered the thought no one dared say aloud. If we continue, none of us will leave alive. But Admiral Kravos did not hear. Or perhaps he refused to. His pride was louder than the truth. On Earth, the people watched the sky blaze with alien wrecks. Their fear turned into fury. They cheered each explosion, each burning enemy ship. They realized something powerful. Humanity was no longer prey. Humanity was the predator. As the third wave of alien ships collapsed under the trap, General Stone leaned closer to the screen. His voice was calm, almost cold. They came with thousands. Let them leave with nothing. The trap had sprung, and the war had only begun. Fury of Earth. The trap had torn the alien fleet apart, but the war was far from finished. Space above. Earth glowed with wreckage, burning metal, and drifting bodies. Yet still, the aliens came. Tens of thousands of ships moved forward, pressing into the graveyard of their own dead. They believed numbers would crush humans at last. But humanity had not yet revealed its darkest weapon. Beneath the Atlantic Ocean, deeper than light could reach, a vault trembled. Massive doors the size of mountains began to move. The sea boiled. As something older, larger, rose from the deep. It was the Black Fleet. For decades, Earth had hidden these ships, built in silence, forged for a single purpose: vengeance. Their hulls were blacker than space, absorbing all light. Their engines burned like dying stars. And etched across their armor were the names of Earth's fallen cities, reminders of every scar humanity had carried. When the first of them rose through the waves, people on the coastlines gasped. They looked like shadows given form, monsters of steel. One by one, they lifted into the sky, engines howling. In the command center, General Marcus Stone gave the order with no emotion: release the Fury. The Black Fleet ignited. They shot into orbit with terrifying speed, cutting through the smoke of battle. Alien sensors could barely track them. They moved too fast, too sharp. When the first Black Fleet ship fired, the result was not a beam, not a missile. It was silence followed by an alien dreadnought collapsing into dust. The weapon had folded space itself, ripping the dreadnought apart from the inside. Alien crews screamed. Their shields meant nothing. Their armor cracked like glass. Each shot from the Black Fleet erased ships as if they had never existed. Panic spread through the alien Armada. For the first time, they did not just fight, they fled. Admiral Kravos roared inside his flagship, "Hold the line. They cannot be endless." But his words were drowned out by the screams of captains reporting their destruction. The Black Fleet carved through them like predators through prey. But it was not only weapons that made them terrifying. It was the way they fought. Human pilots, did not hesitate. They chased ships into fire. They rammed when they had no ammunition left. They sacrificed without fear. To the aliens, this was madness. To humans, it was survival. One alien captain watched in horror as a single human frigate, burning and broken, accelerated straight into his battleship. He ordered retreat. It was too late. Both ships vanished in fire. The aliens had never faced a species that treated death as a weapon. On the ground, people watched the streams. They saw the Black Fleet tearing through the enemy and felt something rise inside them, pride mixed with fear. Humanity was saving itself, but at a cost. Every sacrifice was another name burned into memory. In the command center, one young officer whispered, "Sir, are we becoming the monsters?" General Stone did not look away from the screen. His voice was like iron. "If monsters are what survive, then monsters we shall be." Above, the sky burned brighter than ever. Alien ships fell in waves, their screens echoing through broken combs. Wreckage rained down, lighting the night with firestorms. Cities already ruined by bombardment now glowed with falling debris, turning destruction into something almost beautiful, almost holy. For the aliens, it was horror. For humans, it was vengeance. Still, the Armada pressed on. Not all aliens fled. Some obeyed Kravos's orders, driving into the slaughter. They believed numbers would matter eventually, but numbers meant nothing against Fury. The Black Fleet's flagship, Iron Wrath, cut straight into the heart of the alien formation. Its weapons glowed with power never seen before. In one blast, 5 enemy cruisers disappeared. In another, an entire carrier split apart like paper. Admiral Kravos finally felt fear. His claws gripped the console. His voice shook as he whispered, "What are these creatures?" And then he heard a human transmission, hacked onto alien comms. A voice, calm and cold, filled every alien ship. "You thought Earth would fall easily. You thought we were prey, but you forgot one thing. Humans do not kneel. We burn." The transmission ended with silence. And then another wave of fire. Alien morale shattered. Crews abandoned their posts. Some ships tried to escape, breaking formation. Others self-destructed rather than face the Black Fleet. The battlefield was no longer a fight. It was a purge. From Earth to orbit, the war had changed. The aliens had come to conquer. Now they fought only to survive. But survival was not what humanity intended to allow. The Black Fleet was unleashed, and there would be no mercy. Asterisk. Ashes of the Armada. The alien Armada was breaking. What had begun with pride, with thousands of warships marching toward Earth, had turned into ruin. Space itself glowed with the fire of dead ships. Broken hulks drifted, leaking air and bodies into the void. The aliens had thought humanity would kneel. Instead, their fleets had been shattered again and again. Now, the survivors were running. Admiral Kravos's face was pale under the dim light of his flagship. Around him, his officers whispered in panic. Every screen showed the same nightmare. Ships burning, formations collapsing, entire wings erased in moments. "They're everywhere," one officer cried. "The humans don't stop. They don't die." Kravos slammed his claws against the console. "Cowards, hold the line. If you flee, you die anyway." But his words meant nothing. Fear had already infected his fleet. Ships broke formation, scattering into the void. Captains screamed for retreat, ignoring their admiral. The Black Fleet hunted them without mercy. From the Iron Wrath, Captain Elena Vega gave her order. No survivors. Her eyes burned with cold fire. Every name written. On her ship's hull was a memory: Paris, Mumbai, New York, Cairo. Cities lost when the invasion began. She would not allow even one alien ship to escape. The Black Fleet surged forward, weapons cutting through the darkness. Alien ships fled, but they were slaughtered like prey animals running from wolves. One alien dreadnought, crippled and smoking, tried to retreat into hyperspace. Its engines glowed, then suddenly imploded. The ship folded in on itself, vanishing into nothing. A cheer rose from human crews. Another enemy erased, but in the silence of the command center, General Marcus Stone did not cheer. He watched the chaos, his face unreadable. "We are winning," one officer said, relief in her voice. Stone's reply was cold. "No, we are ending." Above Earth, the ending continued. Entire squadrons of alien ships drifted powerless, their crews begging for help over comms. Humanity did not answer. Missiles found them, turning their cries into static. On the ground, civilians cheered as alien. Wrecks burned across the night sky. For the first time since the invasion began, hope felt real. But alongside hope came unease. Some asked the question no one wanted to speak aloud. Was this victory? Or was this vengeance gone too far? In the ruins of New York, a boy pointed at the flaming sky. "Mama, are we winning?" His mother hugged him close, but her eyes were wet. "Yes, child, we are winning." Yet inside, she wondered what would be left of them when the war ended. In orbit, Admiral Kravos refused to believe defeat. His pride roared louder than reason. "Send what remains. Ram them if you must. If Earth lives, our empire dies." But his words fell on silence. The fleet no longer listened. Kravos looked around and saw empty stations. His crew had abandoned him. Alone, furious, he stared at the burning planet below. "If I fall, I will not fall alone." He whispered. He turned his ship toward Earth. Engines screamed. The flagship accelerated straight for the planet. Human sensors picked it up instantly. "Sir, the enemy flagship is diving." Impact in 3 minutes. The command center erupted in alarm. If the ship hit, millions would die. General Stone stood, his eyes burning like fire. "Stop it, at any cost." The Iron Wrath responded. Engines roared as it broke formation, racing to intercept. Inside, Captain Vega knew what it meant. Her ship was powerful, but to stop a dreadnought, it would have to sacrifice itself. She turned to her crew. "You know what we must do." There was no hesitation. Every officer, every soldier on the Iron Wrath nodded. They were ready. The Black Fleet's flagship dove like a spear of vengeance. The alien dreadnought grew larger on the screen, its weapons glowing and then impact. The Iron Wrath slammed into the alien flagship. The explosion lit the sky brighter than the sun. A shockwave tore through orbit, shattering debris in every direction. On Earth, the ground shook. People looked up and saw a star being born above them. They did not know it was the death of 2 flagships. When the light faded, silence filled the void. The alien dreadnought was gone. The Iron Wrath was gone. Admiral Kravos was dead. And with him, the last hope of the alien fleet burned away. Across the stars, alien survivors screamed in despair. They were leaderless, broken, scattered. Ships fled blindly, crashing into debris or each other. The invasion that had begun with pride, with thousands of ships, had ended with ashes. Only 17 alien ships survived the slaughter. And when human boarding parties entered them, they found something chilling. The ships were empty. No crews. No bodies. No signs of life. Just silence. Humanity had won. But the mystery of those 17 empty ships was only beginning. The war was over. Earth stood wounded but victorious. Cities burned, skies were torn, but humanity still breathed. Across the world, people wept with joy. They believed the nightmare had ended. They were wrong. 17 alien ships remained in orbit silent. Giants floating above Earth, Untouched, untouched by fire, untouched by time. No signals, no signs of damage. And most disturbing of all, no life detected. Scan again. General Marcus Stone ordered. We've scanned them 12 times. Sir, replied the officer. Thermal signatures? 0. Biological traces? None. They're dead. Captain Lena Cross, leader of the newly formed Spectre Squad, stood in the shuttle bay with her gear on. Her team had been chosen to board one of the ships. She didn't like it. I've fought aliens. I've fought death, she said quietly. But this feels wrong. This feels like walking into a ghost's mouth. The boarding craft latched onto the nearest ship. The airlock opened. Darkness. No power. No sound. No movement. Cross's team activated their lights. The beams flickered over walls, slick with some kind of dark oil. The interior wasn't like the other ships they had seen during the war. This design was older. Or maybe newer. Maybe. Not alien at all. Anyone else feeling watched? Whispered Sergeant Jin. The corridors were silent, but something in the silence felt alive. Cross moved forward slowly. Then she stopped. In the center of the hallway floated a helmet. Inside was a human skull. She froze. Is that? Jin gasped. Yes, that's human. Cross's voice dropped to a whisper. But how? These ships just arrived during the invasion. That skull is old, degraded. Decades, maybe centuries old. Suddenly, all lights flickered. Then everything went black. The team's comms cracked with static. Then a voice, cold, distorted, and not quite human, whispered, Return. Cross screamed, Everyone out, now. But the airlock behind them was gone. The corridor had changed. The path was sealed. And the lights returned, faint red, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat. The walls began to move. They weren't metal, they were alive. One by one, team members vanished. No screams. No blood. Silence. Cross ran through the corridors, breathing hard. Then she saw it, a wall, covered in faces, human faces, stretched, screaming, frozen in the metal. Eyes wide open. Her reflection joined them, and then everything was gone. The shuttle returned 3 hours later. Empty. No trace of the Spectre Squad. Inside command, panic spread like fire. We lost contact with the team, the officer said. Stone's jaw tightened. Send a drone in. The drone entered. 30 seconds later, it shut down. The 17 ships were sealed again. Cold, silent, and still. Empty. Earth declared a no-fly zone around them. Every human satellite turned to watch. Even as celebrations continued, people stared at the sky with unease, because deep down, everyone felt it. The war had not ended. It has changed. Some believed the ships were cursed. Others said the aliens left them behind as a warning. But a few those who studied the footage noticed something darker. One ship bore a mark, not alien, not human. It was the ancient symbol of an eye. Earth Deep Space Expedition lost 300 years ago. Expedition 7 vanished near the Orion Rift. How did their ship end up in an alien fleet? And what took their bodies? The next morning, one of the 17 ships moved slightly. Only one. Its engines didn't ignite. It simply drifted. Closer to Earth. And on every com signal, one word appeared. No sound, no voice. Just a repeating signal. We are not finished. Asterisk. The celebrations of Earth had turned quiet. People no longer cheered under the burning skies. Instead, they watched the 17 alien ships silent, black, drifting above the planet like tombstones. And then one ship moved. It didn't fire. It didn't land. It simply drifted closer, turning slowly, as though looking down on Earth. And across every human channel, one message repeated in cold, silent code. We are not finished. General Marcus Stone stood in the command center. Staring at the screen, the words pulsed like a heartbeat. Around him, officers whispered nervously. No one dared speak louder than a breath. Captain Elena Vega was gone, her ship Iron Wrath destroyed. The Spectre Squad was missing. Humanity had survived the invasion, but victory tasted like ash. "Sir," one officer whispered, "do we destroy them?" Stone shook his head. His voice was like iron. "No, we watch, because something about those ships felt wrong. Destroying them too soon might unleash something worse." The first return that night. In the ruins of New York, a child disappeared. His mother screamed, but there was no trace. Only ashes where he had stood. In Cairo, soldiers reported strange whispers in the ruins, whispers in human voices, begging for help. In London, a man claimed he saw his dead brother killed in the first week of the war, walking among the shadows. Calling his name. Fear spread faster than fire. People stopped celebrating. They stayed inside. They prayed, but prayers did not stop the visions. The 17 ships had not fired a single shot, but their presence poisoned Earth. The truth unveiled. Aisha Karim, a scientist who had studied old expedition records, made the discovery. She stood in the command hall, holding a cracked tablet. "These ships," she said quietly, "they are not alien, not completely. They are part human." The officer stared at her. She explained. 300 years ago, Expedition 7 left Earth. They were never found. Their mission logs say they were pulled into the Orion Rift, a place of folding space. She pointed at the symbol etched into one of the ships and Earth insignia, distorted and burned. They were taken, changed, twisted. The aliens used them. Or perhaps something else did. But inside those ships are not alien crews. Inside are humans, or what used to be. A cold silence filled the room. General Stone clenched his fists. "You're saying those ships are ours?" Dr. Karim nodded. "Yes, our lost ones. Returned, and they brought something back with them." The voices that night, the 17 ships finally opened. Not their weapons, their doors. From them spilled light, not bright, but sickly, pale, crawling across the sky like a disease. And with it came the voices. Human voices. Thousands of them. "Help us. Join us. We are not finished." The voices came from everywhere, comes, screens, even the minds of those who listened. Children cried. Soldiers clutched their heads. Some fell to their knees because the voices sounded familiar. They were the voices of fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, the lost, the dead, but twisted, wrong. Echoing with something alien. The Choice Stone stood in the command center, watching as the ships opened wider. Inside, shapes moved. Not alien, not human. Something between. "They want to come back," one officer whispered, trembling. Stone's jaw tightened. His choice was clear. "If they set foot on Earth," he said, "we will all be lost." He turned to his fleet. "Arm every weapon. Target the 17. But even as orders spread, something darker happened. Across the globe, people began walking toward the light. Civilians, soldiers, even children. They marched in silence, eyes blank, as though answering a call no one else could hear. The ships weren't attacking. They were calling. And humanity was listening. The final fire. General Stone's voice shook for the first time. "Fire! Now!" Missiles streaked into the sky. Beams of plasma burned upward. The world lit with fire. One by one, the 17 ships exploded. Their screams echoed in human voices as they died. But when the last ship burned, silence fell. The people who had been walking stopped, their eyes cleared. Confusion replaced the emptiness. They looked at each other, not knowing what had happened. The sky was empty again. The ships were gone. Aftermath Earth had survived again. But not with celebration, because in the ashes of the destroyed ships, humanity had learned the darkest truth. The invasion had not been only alien. It had been human. Their own lost expedition, twisted and weaponized, had returned as part of the Armada. And when the ships were destroyed, the voices whispered one last time just before silence. We will return. We are you.